Hello, everyone. I'd like to introduce Daniel Carmichael. He is an admissions representative at Triangle Tech. It is a trade school, and he's going to tell you a little bit about the programs that they offer and the admissions requirements and financial costs of the programs and any other things that you have questions about. He will be here to answer any questions you may have. Thanks. Okay, Daniel, I'm going to close my screen, my camera, and it's off to you.
All right, great. I hope everyone's doing well today. What I'm going to do here is share my screen up, and then I'm going to start up a PowerPoint presentation where I'm going to cover some information first off about applying to post-secondary career and technical schools, just some general information on what they are, what they do. And then we're going to talk a little bit more in depth about what Triangle Tech is and how we can be beneficial. So to look at a post-secondary career and technical school, if you're not super familiar with that terminology, really to simplify it, it's a school that focuses on one type of career path. So in Pennsylvania, we're pretty lucky. We have a lot of different career and technical schools out there, and they specialize in a ton of different things. So there are more than 200 schools, and they specialize in things like cosmetology, culinary, business, arts, medical fields, computers. And then you have schools that specifically specialize in the trades, which is what Triangle Tech will do. Now, when you're looking at these schools, you're going to notice that they do provide some different types of benefits to you when you are attending them than a lot of other school options. So with career and technical schools, some of the big benefits we're seeing is that you get training in fields that have critical shortages. You get a lot of hands-on learning, which I'd say is probably one of the biggest benefits when you're doing something that you need to understand. That hands-on aspect is to actually learn it that way. You also get to graduate into your job market normally in 2 years' time or less. So the schools are faster paced, you get through them quicker, and that allows you to start working and making money faster. And then finally, you get a high return on your investment. And if you're not super familiar with what that return on investment really means, when you look at education, you want to know that the money you take and spend on your education, you make back in some way after that. So with these schools, you're able to, for the most part, spend less money because you're there less time, and they generally cost less, which means when you graduate and start making money, you're getting your return, right? So you're getting your return on your investment that a lot of times can come to you a lot quicker than some other schooling options. Now, when it comes to construction companies that are nationwide, we're seeing that a lot of them are having trouble finding qualified workers. Currently, right now, that percentage is 70%. So that is a really big concern. And it's something that Mike Rowe likes to talk about. If you're not super familiar with who Mike Rowe is, he is the TV show host of Dirty Jobs. He's a huge advocate for people going into the trades industry. He said right now there are 7 million jobs that are open, with a vast majority of them not requiring a 4-year degree, right? So that gives you a lot of opportunity in order to find some quick education, but still become qualified in these fields. And hopefully the skills gap, which is something he often refers to, right, we start decreasing that, right? So it's gotten a lot wider. We want to make sure that it closes up. When it comes to preparing for the schools you have out here, some big fields to focus on would be your STEM fields, that's science, technology, engineering, math. You also if you've had opportunities to go into any types of hands-on classes, maybe offered through local vo-techs, different elective courses you can take. Anytime you can go out and observe someone in the actual field you want to study for, that's a big help. And then finally, you want to tour your post-secondary career and technical options. When you are touring these options, one of the biggest things to focus on are the labs. That's where you spend a majority of your time. So you want to focus on their equipment, make sure it's up to date, ask if you can sit in on a class or two. All right, that's something that we offer. They're called class audits. You also have the opportunity to talk to them about their completion and placement rates, which for the most part tells you how successful the school is, how many students are entering the program, how many are completing it, and how many are actually finding jobs in that specific field they studied for. You also want to meet with the admission reps, find out any questions you have and get them answered, and then meet with financial aid. Those financial aid reps that these schools offer are going to talk to you about your FAFSA. They'll cover what grants and loans are. And then they'll talk about scholarships that you can apply for and the potential for articulation agreements, which might be some kind of credit for credit transfer of some other schooling you may have received in the past. Now, when it comes to applying at the career and technical school, when you figure out it's a good fit after you take that tour, you'll register for your classes. And a lot of times the schools are set up a little bit different. So some schools might have 2 start times a year. Some schools might have more than that. Triangle Tech, we have 3 start times. We start up in June, October, and February. So we allow you to choose what start time works out best for your schedule, and then that's when you'd start up your classes. Now, we also want to look at the admission requirements. And again, depending on the school, this can differ. Triangle Tech, all that we require is you have a high school diploma or a GED. Other schools might look to see what you have as far as scores go for your SATs, your ACTs. They might have entrance exams, essays, or even interview processes. So you want to be aware of that when you're researching these schools and looking into them to see what do you need to actually get started up with one of these schools. Now, when you're looking at the classes, one big thing to realize is that you're going to be dealing with some small class sizes. A lot of times, if you think back to maybe high school, you probably had classes with anywhere from 15 to even probably 35 people. We typically keep our classes smaller at these schools because it's more hands-on, so you have a lot more equipment to work with, and it can become dangerous. So when you overload the classes, it becomes tougher to make sure everything is safe, make sure everyone's on task, so the class sizes will be smaller. You also receive a lot of personal attention. Since the class sizes are smaller, the instructors have the ability to work with you more one-on-one. You will have a majority of your classes in your chosen field, meaning a lot of these schools eliminate different types of liberal arts classes. So things like English, history, science. When you're looking at a trade school, the number one thing you want to learn about is specifically how to do that trade. So we make sure we focus our time and effort on learning that specifically. You also are going to have a lot of hands-on training because of that, as well as theory behind it, right? So not how to do the work, but also why are you doing it the way you're doing it? And then finally, attendance is important. One of the biggest things that we look for with our students is that you are in school and attending your classes. We can't trust that someone who is not showing up knows what they're doing. So if you aren't coming to school, we aren't allowing you to graduate depending on what your attendance rate is. So in order to graduate, you have to maintain at least a 85% attendance rate. So we are pretty strict there, but that is one of the biggest things we're looking for, is that you are showing up and you actually know what the work is you're doing. Now, when you graduate, depending on the type of program you're looking at, you can receive a few different things. What will depend on this is the type of school, how long your program is, how many hours they're dedicating to it, and specifically what you're learning there. So some schools you might receive a diploma, other schools might be a certificate, and then some schools will be an associate degree. Through Triangle Tech, you receive your associate degree in specialized technology. That program for your degree is only 16 months for any of the 5 programs that you would choose at our school. So it is very fast-paced, but that does allow you to get on the ball, graduate, and start working faster. The next slide, I have a video to show you all. This is going to be some of our recent graduates. They're going to talk a little bit about their experiences going through school, getting into the field, and just what they thought of the programs that we offered.
Triangle Tech's a very well-known school, known for its welding and fabrication. I had cousins who went to school there that are still working in the welding field today. Well, I didn't know how to weld at all before I went to Triangle Tech. They taught me a lot, pretty much everything. They gave me a good base of everything to know. And the experiences that I had at Triangle Tech were very, very good. The teachers there were phenomenal. They went over how to interview, what questions to ask in an interview, different scenarios of an interview. When the companies would come in, you go back and talk to your teacher if you wanted about the companies, and they would, give you an idea of what to expect. That's how I got my job here.
Whenever I got out of the military, I needed a job trade to go to, and I seen the Triangle Tech commercial. I wanted something that I could rely on as far as a career, rather than something dangerous like going into law enforcement. So I was gone 4 years in the military, wasn't used to the classroom style of anything. and they were able to adjust with not only younger students straight out of high school, but people who already had prior careers that were already used to the workforce, and then being able to adapt back into the classroom kind of environment.
I'm an adult, so I like to take care of myself and not rely on other people. Being able to transition from being a student into a job means that I can take care of myself, pay my own rent, pay my own bills, and get to work. I've gotten several job offers. Clemens Food Group had the most to offer out of all of them. It was important to me to get a degree because I would like to have some form of advanced training. And in the direction that the country and the entire world is headed, automation is going to be the industry of tomorrow.
I wanted to find a school that didn't just teach me how to swap out a part. I wanted a school that could teach me, why did this part fail? What went wrong here? How do we prevent this?
I like working with my hands. So I used to work on dirt bikes a lot, doing like troubleshooting with electrical problems. So with the furnace, you have a lot of electrical stuff. With an AC, you have a lot of electrical. I wanted to do something where I could always have a job and still do what I like.
I was a chef before this. I started taking classes because I'm a do-it-yourselfer. I didn't know anything about welding, and I started welding in school. I really enjoyed it. I loved it. Told my wife I'm going to make a career change. Here I am today, and I love it.
Came here from healthcare. I spent 10 years working in a hospital. Just wanted to change pace, and been working here ever since I graduated from Triangle Tech.
I graduated in October, and I almost instantly got a job.
About a month from graduation, I got a call from the career advisor because he found an opening at CMI Energy. And so the next week I went there, and the week after that I had a job offer.
My goal for my career is to find myself in my own business making pediatric prosthetics.
All right, so those were some of our recent graduates talking about, their experiences going through the program, what they thought of it, and how it helped them get to where they are today. Now, I gave you some information specifically, on career and technical schools, but I want to dive down deeper into Triangle Tech and what we do and who we are. So Triangle Tech, we were founded in 1944, so we've been around for over 75 years now, and we started out of Pittsburgh as a drafting school and have since then increased not only our programs, but also our campus locations. So we are still located in Pittsburgh. We're in the North Shore on Perrysville Avenue, but we're also in Greensburg, DuBois, Sunbury, Bethlehem, and Chambersburg. So all 6 are in Pennsylvania, and they are spread pretty evenly throughout the entire state. So a really good thing about that is you're not just limited to finding jobs in Pittsburgh. You could travel throughout the states around us, even really throughout the whole country if that's what you want to do with one of these careers, because these aren't just jobs that are in a high demand here. They're jobs that are in a high demand everywhere. Also, Triangle Tech, we are nationally accredited by the ACCSC. That is the Accrediting Commission of Career Schools and Colleges. That is a very big deal for us as a school. Anytime you are looking into or researching career and technical schools, you want to make sure they are accredited because that shows how successful you are. So what they do with us is every few years they come in and grade us on how we are as a school. Are we improving? What do our numbers look like of students that are entering, graduating, and finding careers in their specific field? So we have done that for over 40 years now. On top of that, we've received awards for School of Distinction as well as School of Excellence. And actually 2 years ago, Forbes magazine came out and released their top 30 trade schools in the entire country. We're very proud to have been selected onto that list as well. Now, if you are wondering what some of the programs are that we offer, we have a CAD with additive manufacturing and 3D printing. We have maintenance, electricity, and construction. We have carpentry and construction, refrigeration, heating, ventilation, and air conditioning, and welding and fabrication. All right, so like I said, we have those 5 programs, all of which are offered at our Pittsburgh campus, and each one of those would be a 16-month program where at the end you would graduate and receive that associate degree in specialized technology. Now, what I have on the next slide is another video, and what that video is going to do is talk a little bit more in depth about what these schools are, or what these programs are, how you are able to, go into them, get your education, and then what type of jobs are waiting for you afterwards. So we'll check out that video. It's going to break them down into sections where they'll focus on one program at a time. All the people you're hearing talk are going to be our instructors. All the background clips, everything behind them, those are our classrooms. So it gives you a pretty good idea of what's going on in the class as well as what they look like.
Carpentry, I think, is one of the best trades out there because they know more about the project than anybody else.
We need more carpenters. We can't find them. So every time I see somebody thinking about school, I say, hey, we'll make you a good carpenter.
There are less and less skilled workers out there in the industry. And a lot of our local contractors are looking for workers that are skilled. It saves time on their end training somebody that already has the training that we give them here.
We teach you everything from floor framing, wall framing, roof framing, and then once you make it the fourth term, we bring you into more meticulous things like cabinet making, project management, estimation, and things like that.
We teach them how to price things, how to figure out labor, contract writing. If they become a crew leader or a foreman as they start to grow in their field, they're going to be hand in hand with contracts and specifications. They got to know how to read. We cover not only the trade aspects of it, which is how to build it and how to estimate it, but we also get into how to run the job.
I've been welding 20 years. I've yet to be unemployed.
Why the welding career is so big now is because most of the baby boomers are retiring.
Guy told me years ago, he said, the economy's good, you build it. The economy's bad, you fix it.
We started everybody out as if they've never done anything in welding, build their skills from there.
We covered the fundamentals of arc welding, blueprint reading, metallurgy.
They touch on everything they could basically get in the field. We do plasma, we do stick welding, we do MIG, flux core, all the fabrication processes we do.
Certified welders are a very elite group of people. A very small percentage of the workforce is actually a certified welder.
You cannot get a job of any consequence without being certified.
There's a lot of businesses out there that wants a experienced welder. They don't want to have to train somebody from the start.
Right now, all the trades are in desperate need. Revac is in particular need. There's a crisis. People have not entered the field in numbers for a long time, and it's an aging group.
The revac industry is just growing. A lot of guys are retiring. There's going to be a big demand for this career.
We start our students off in basic residential, refrigerators, window air conditioning, dehumidifiers. They got to start with that foundation on the refrigeration cycle. Second term, we step them up into the commercial end of it and also the electronics end as well, because with technology, our equipment's leading that way. All of our equipment now has electronic boards and so forth. So they need to know the electronics aspect of it. Third term, now we get them into the heating and the air distribution. Gas furnaces, oil furnaces, heat pumps, hot water and steam systems. We show them how to build the ductwork so we can distribute that throughout their homes as well.
In fourth term, they start to learn transport refrigeration and they learn large commercial and industrial buildings.
We get into direct digital controls, pneumatics.
We start out with theory, and we take that theory and we start to apply it in real-time application so they understand the basis of what they're actually doing.
Some people really love hands-on. They want to take and crawl throughout a supermarket and find the leak. Other people prefer to work on a computer. We train you for all of them because really they're the same skill set, just with specialties added on to the end. You can't really outsource our program.
The electrical field is a really broad field to be in. The demand is very, very high.
You never get bored. There's always something new coming down the pike, and it's a career. It's not just a job you take for a year or two. It's a career that you can follow for the rest of your life.
I came here as a student not knowing anything at all about electricity. They took me to a point where I was able to go out and work in the field and then eventually come back here and teach it.
The electrical program gives you a little bit of each discipline in the electrical field. So we start off with the theory of electricity.
The first term is primarily a residential term where students learn about wiring up houses, and all the NEC code regulations go with that.
First year, they learn the basics, series circuits, parallel circuits.
I teach them tools and safety, construction site safety. I teach them about communication systems. Communications are telephone, data, and added to this class this term, we're going to be going into fire alarm systems.
The second term is a lot of theory about motors and transformers. For example, if you wanted to go work in an industrial environment like a factory.
We do commercial circuit design. We do AC motors, DC motors, generators, alternators. We move into the OSHA requirements, the construction site safety, which is very in-depth.
Then we get a third term, we teach them power distribution, which is from substation to the final product. And then from there, they go into PLCs, which is more logic oriented.
The PLC program here is basically about manufacturing, how to be able to go into a factory and work as a maintenance electrician, or eventually working way up to becoming a programmer of the machinery that produces, parts and goods.
You can go through the books and you can learn everything in those books. If you've never gone out and wired this stuff up yourself, troubleshoot problems that occur, then you don't really know what's going on usually.
CAD is the starting ground for all different specialized fields.
Everything that is ever physically made has had a drawing created somewhere.
When the students first come on board at Triangle Tech, they're brought into just the fundamentals of drafting, the traditional drafting equipment, your parallel bars, T-squares, triangles, compasses, protractors, things of that nature.
First term, the group that I'm working with currently, working with office programs, transitioning into an initial CAD understanding.
From there, we build the program on top of that. They're introduced then to 2D CAD with AutoCAD.
As we move on into the other terms, we expand upon the CAD program and into some more complex programs that offer mechanical and architectural background.
The work they do here is a real world experience. When they leave here, they're fully prepared to step in and start a job.
Triangle Tech made the decision to put additive manufacturing into our CAD program because it's really an innovative technology, has really opened up the design world to create more complex structures, more advanced products, and we really felt that it was important to bring that type of technology into our program. Our students have created simple projects like keychains up to more complex projects like jigs and fixtures that would be used in manufacturing.
It's everything from making new roller skates to automotive parts. We can 3D print an internal combustion engine.
They're building houses. They're working towards 3D printers that will manufacture bridges.
We're really pulling them into the modern era where this technology is everywhere. Everybody is using it, and we're giving it to our students.
There really is no limit for what the students can do with this education.
All right, so hopefully you were able to gain a little bit more knowledge on what these programs are, what they entail, and how we take them and help you become qualified in these fields. A big question that we typically get in any of the trades industry right now is, what do the salaries look like? So what you're going to see here are two sets of numbers. The first one is the average starting salary from our Pittsburgh campus graduates for this first one is for the CAD-AM field. So they're starting out making around $34,000. Now this second set of numbers is the U.S. salary range currently in that CAD-AM field. So we are seeing people in the U.S. once you get qualified and into these positions earn anywhere from $33,000 to upwards of $80,000 a year. For our electrical field, Pittsburgh graduates are starting out around $32,000 as well. That U.S. range there is $32,000 to $94,000. Our carpenters are coming out starting around $28,000. That U.S. range there is $28,000 to $82,000. Our revac techs are starting out around $32,300. That U.S. range is $28,000 to $63,000. And our welders are coming out around $31,600, with that range being $28,000 to $63,000 there. Now, right here, what you're going to see, these are the median annual salaries for each of the 5 programs that we offer. This is across the board in the U.S., no matter what your education level, whether you have diploma, certificate, degree, or nothing. These are the median. right? So it's not the highest, not the lowest, it's just right around that middle ground. So there is a good chance that if you do get some type of education in one of these fields, you will get to one of these numbers, hopefully fairly quickly, with the ability to potentially even go higher than that, depending on what it is you're actually doing in that type of industry. Now, something I do want to touch on is our financial aid. I know I briefly brought it up a little bit ago, what financial aid is. The way that we set it up is that you are going to have a personal appointment with one of our financial aid reps at the school. So this would just be to determine your budget, make sure there aren't any surprises, understand how you're going to pay for your schooling. We do offer the ability for you to go and get an interest-free payment plan. There's also the ability, if you've gone through the military and are a veteran, that we work with the military benefits. We're a yellow ribbon school. And we also work with a lot of different scholarships, which is one of the best ways to be able to pay for school is by finding, applying, and winning different scholarships that are out there. When it comes to the trades, there are a ton out there. Like I said, Mike Rowe earlier, he has his own scholarship that he gives out every year. There's one specifically for the trades that you're learning about, like the American Welding Society has a scholarship. And then Triangle Tech specifically offers a scholarship for each of our programs. So in order to apply for that, you do have to come into our June semester start time, but you need 2 letters of recommendation and you need a 250-word essay on why you want to come into that type of program. Right? And if you do win that scholarship, it covers 25% of your entire tuition. So it does cover a very large portion of your schooling. These are some of our past scholarship winners. We like to recognize them in the PowerPoints, on our website, social media pages, because they went above and beyond, they applied for it, and they won. So we always like to show them off. Now, we also offer very in-depth career advising as well. One of the number one things we want to do with our students is not only get you through the program and graduate, but be able to become successful, become employable, and find a job in that specific field you trained for. So we do help you out with job placement assistance. We'll set up mock interviews. We do have a class for all of our students called Job Communications. In that class, you learn about your cover letter and resume, how to write them, how to make them look professional. Just in general, what kind of questions you'll hear in an interview and how to present yourself. So we do want to make sure that you are as well geared as you possibly can be for graduating and finding a job in your field. We also try
Daniel, I'm sorry to interrupt. We have about 10 minutes left on the Zoom meeting.
All right, perfect. I've almost finished up. We do help you out with coordinating interviews, which sometimes can even be on our campus, which means you wouldn't even have to leave class for too long to actually go to an interview. And then we offer continuous placement, which for any student, that means when you graduate, whether it's right after graduation or 10 years down the road, you can come back in and work with us, and we can at any time help you find a job in whatever field you're looking for. So again, you earn that associate degree in a 16-month period. It is very fast-paced. We call it a fast track for a reason. So we do want to make sure that, any questions you have throughout the program, you get them answered, you get the right knowledge you need to be able to go out there and get a job right away. We do offer a lot of different social media pages for you to follow: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We have a ton more videos on our YouTube page. And on top of that, if you need any additional information, you can check out our website. It's triangle-tech.edu. You can give us a call. You can text us for information. While I'm here today, we have looks to be like about 8.5 minutes left. I'll answer any questions that you might have. And then I am also going to stop sharing my screen here. And I am going to drop a link into the chat box. This link that I have for you, let's see if I can find it here. If you do want to sign up for some more information, you can just hop on our website. I'm going to give you the direct link to it. We call it a virtual advisor. And then with that, we will start sending you some information. But does anyone have any questions for me right now?
So all of you are on mute. If you have a question, just go to the top right of your screen where your name is and click unmute so you can speak.
And I did drop that link into the chat box there.
Thank you.
So if anyone needs it, they can hop on there.
So it looks like we have a few shy people on the presentation today, so I'll ask a few questions. All the classes are being done virtually right now.
Yes.
In order to get more information about the school and the program, if they want to see the school, is that being done virtually also, or is it being done like maintaining social distancing with masks?
So at the moment we are doing virtual touring. So that would be, the process of calling in, signing up, picking a time slot, and then one of our admission reps will get in touch with you. We call it kind of like an interview. We'll ask you some questions, just kind of see what your goals are, your thoughts on the program, what you want to learn about, and then we'll show you a video that will kind of go through the classroom. You can see the different labs, the tools that we're using. And then any other questions there, we make sure to get them answered. We also go a little bit in depth into the financial aid side of it and the tuition. And then if it seems like something, that you do want to learn more about and enroll with, we'll look on to the next steps, which might be a financial aid meeting, which are also held virtually right now, or even potentially, registering for your classes and starting up in the semester that you want to.
So everything's being done virtually right now, which is great. In order to start classes, well, in June, it's too late for June, but for October, if it's still in the virtual setting, what do the students need to start classes virtually?
We are hoping, our game plan right now is that in the June start time, we will be having our physical classes starting up. That is all going to be pertaining to what Governor Wolf tells us and whether or not we can open. So we're game planning right now for physical classes to begin at the end of June. I'm not too familiar with what our setup and process will be if that's not able to happen, but I believe it would still be hopefully some virtual classes going on.
Okay. And I think both attendees are immigrants, so they have high school diplomas from foreign countries. Do they need to, they will need to get their, if they're interested in applying to Triangle Tech, they will need to get their high school transcripts translated.
Yes.
Does Triangle Tech require them to be evaluated to show U.S. high school equivalency, or just translation?
I believe we just need them to be translated.
Okay.
Andrea, this is Ashley. That's something I would actually probably check with our executive director of admissions as well to see what all is needed as far as that process goes. I know we worked with you guys in the past, so
Yes.
admissions usually knows, but we can double check on that for you as well.
Okay, perfect.
I remember asking them about it like a year or two ago, and I can't remember specifically the process, but
I'll see if I have your response in my email so we can remember for tomorrow's presentation. I do have another question, but it popped out of my mind, so I guess I'll just ask it tomorrow. Mustafa or Thais, do you have any questions for Dan or Ashley?
Hi,
actually, oh, okay. Mustafa, go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to know the cost of the for the whole classes on 16 months on the carpentry and the construction.
Carpentry Construction. All of our programs, they level out to be around the same. For the whole 16 months, it looks to be around $34,000. And then we factor in any tools, books, any equipment you need, different fees. So you'd be looking around that 34 mark. And then we do break the payments up into 4 different semesters. So it's not just a lump sum. It'll be broken down into that 4 semester, which brings it down to around $8,200 a semester.
And you will qualify for financial aid if you are a green card holder or citizen.
Okay. Thank you.
Thais, did you have a question?
No, I'm good. So I just want to say thank you for the meeting.
You're welcome. Thank you for joining.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Daniel and Ashley, for having this presentation. We will be having another presentation tomorrow at 2 p.m. That's Thursday, May 28th at 2 p.m. The Zoom link is on the flyer. Until then, you guys have a wonderful day. And if you have any questions, Mustafa and Thais, you are feel free to contact me as well, or contact Daniel directly. If you want his information, I will just send me an email and I can email you his contact information. All right.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank
All right,
you. You
you're
guys have a
welcome.
wonderful day.
Thank you. Bye bye.